course, we're doing Double Barrel Gaming Presents. And as you can see, we have an all-star panel of guests who are going to be bringing it 100. We were talking in the pregame, and my goodness, ladies and gentlemen, people are all fired up for a lot of reasons. Some, like myself, are excited, and some are going to be using the word hypocrisy quite often this evening because there is a lot to cover. So let's get into the introductions so we can get right to, of course, the firecracker show that we have planned. So get ready, get your Red Bull, get your cup of tea, get your coffee, and get ready for the best 2 hours of YouTube. And quite frankly, there's been a lot of people that have done shows, but we are going to close out tonight, and we're going to do it right. First up, you know him as our very opinionated, chainsaw cutting, Gears 5 professional. Please welcome Crispy Bomb.
Oh, what's up, everybody?
Dude, I'm so excited that you're here. I'm stumbling over my words.
Well, at the end of the day, that's my new catchphrase. At the end of the day, keep that same energy, people. Let's do it.
You know what? It's going to be very interesting to see what energy comes from the PlayStation Nation, and we're going to be getting into that. Next up, someone that took a couple of weeks off to be with his family. Of course, you know this is a family first show. Unfortunately, as the terrible host that I can sometimes be, forgot to even involve him in one of the big topics on Monday night's primetime gaming, making his triumphant return. And this time, I won't forget him. Tempest, son, what's going on, dude?
Hey, don't worry about that, dude. It's no problems. Good to be back, and I have one question. You ready?
Go ahead, go.
What the hell was that?
Dude,
That's all I gotta say.
I don't know. I mean, again, I have no words for what is happening, but we will be breaking it down, folks, and it's gonna be very interesting. Next up, someone all the way from the West Coast, some people consider it the best coast, probably sipping a quite delicious spot of tea. Please welcome the very popular VJ. What's going on, dude? How you feeling?
Hey, Boom. Yeah, I'm all good. Thank you very much. Looking forward to the show, and just want to say hello to everyone in the panel and the chat, and yeah, let's get it going.
Well, it's great to have you here. I know that you wanted to be a part of this since I started putting the panel together, and again, everyone's going to have a valid opinion. There's going to be a lot of different opinions, which is why I'm glad that we have this cast of characters, if you will. Next up, you know him as someone that has made numerous appearances on Breakfast with Boom, Primetime Gaming, and more importantly, Double Barrel Gaming Presents. He seems to always be available for these special edition shows, and quite frankly, I am blessed to have him. Please welcome Sean D. What's going on, dude?
What's going on, everybody? I am so conflicted right now. There was things I love. There was things that happened after the show that I was just like, what is going on? We are going to get into all of it.
Yeah, we definitely are, and I have it broken down. We're actually going to be going in reverse order. I had to write this by the seat of my pants, and I'll tell you the reason why that is in a second. And last and no way least, the cog that keeps the Xbox Factor podcast rolling each and every week, and who had to be on this panel, someone that did a video, someone that might have gotten slightly emotional when it was confirmed that Harry Potter was coming to the PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X. Please welcome my very good friend and chef by night, Zemi Games.
Do 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 do. Did you guys see what I saw? Did you guys see what I saw today? I saw the greatest game of all time on the big screen, and it's coming out in 2021, and I'm so excited.
Yeah,
Harry Potter.
You know what? I watched it through your eyes, through my eyes.
Oh man.
How do you like that? That's creepy, but that's how I felt.
I literally was crying. I was shaking. I had goosebumps. I couldn't catch my breath. I had like a full body, like emotional, like come to Jesus moment.
Listen, folks, if there's one franchise that he needed a game that would make a grown man cry, it's Harry Potter. And you know what? This, Zemi, I cannot wait to get into. I mean, obviously, the Bug Snacks was your game of the show, not Harry Potter, but we'll get into that momentarily as we get towards the end of the show. But listen, the PS5 event, ladies and gentlemen, is behind us, and there is a ton to talk about. Lots of big opinions are expected on tonight's show. Some of podcasting's biggest terminologies will be used, and quite frankly, I'm expecting quite a bit of F-bombing. So if you are with the children, cover their ears, because it is going to be testy tonight. Now, obviously, some people in the community are screaming hashtag PlayStation 5 wins for, of course, the Spider-Man Miles Morales demonstration, which looked unbelievable. And it's my personal game of the show. Demon Souls as a launch title for the PlayStation 5 on November 12th is amazing. But there are others. There are others on this panel. There are others in social media and in the circles that we all run in that are using the word hypocrisy for every new game that is now being released on the PlayStation 4. And now this includes confirmation Horizon Forbidden West. What the fuck is going on at PlayStation, ladies and gentlemen? Because listen, if I recall how this conversation went with Jim Ryan, he used what I like to call terror tactics, and he came out and said we need to translate and transition PlayStation 4 players to PlayStation 5 players faster than we've ever done in the company's history. And how are we going to do that? Well, dancing, as King likes to call him, dancing shoes, Jim Ryan, said that Miles Morales and Demon Souls and Ratchet and Clank and so many others needed the PlayStation 5's SSD to run, and that if you wanted to play these games, well, you might have to get a second job, though he didn't say that. I'm sure he implied it, but you'd have to get a PlayStation 5. And my God, maybe, just maybe, which we're going to get into a little bit later, those 1 out of 2, 50% bad SOCs that apparently Sony knew about as much as 6 months ago have come to wreak their ugly head, because there's no way they could have locked all of this next-gen content behind 4 million consoles. They would have lost millions when they had 110 plus million PlayStation 4s on the market. So the question is, and again, we talk about energy being brought by this PlayStation Nation. Do you need to buy a PlayStation 5? Wow, that's a question that we're going to tackle as well. And we're going to be breaking down all 40 minutes from top to bottom. And we have an incredible panel that is going to give us their damnedest. So let's start off. Again, I talked about going backwards. And let's start off with, of course, the price. We finally got the pricing. Everyone, again, I'm not calling anybody out in particular. I did laugh at a lot of these memes. I laughed at a lot of these posters. Microsoft was going to get their knees cut out, broken with a baseball bat that looked like a PS5, because Sony was going to release it at $299 and stick it right up their ass. And that didn't happen, ladies and gentlemen. As a matter of fact, I called this pricing months ago. And you know what? I didn't care if I'm right. I just knew that this is the way it was going to go down. So the pricing goes as such: $399 US for, of course, the digital PlayStation 5, and $499.99 USD for the PlayStation 5 disc version. So now we're going to get into the panel. I want to go to, of course, Crispy Bomb. Now, Crispy, we kind of figured, and you've been on many of my shows where you've talked about this is probably going to be what the price was. Turns out that we were right. This is what the price is. And again, no big surprise. But again, we have to talk power versus price. Okay. It seems as if, and again, I'm a history kind of a dude. I'm a history buff. I like to go back and look at winnings and failings and see how companies pivot and make changes based on those two particular situations, winning and failing. And if I recall correctly, and I want you to elaborate on this because I know you're going to do a bang up job, in 2013, Sony had the power and the price. And it turns out that Microsoft has the power and price now. And they have quite a bit of games. Now, granted, they don't have a Miles Morales, but they have a Medium, right? They don't have a Demon Souls, but they have quite a few other games. And listen, again, Demon Souls is fantastic and it's going to sell a lot of copies, but it's a niche audience. Okay. Spider-Man Miles Morales, that's going to sell a lot of copies. I expect it to sell at least 10 to 15 million copies, as potentially even more so than Spider-Man. What are your thoughts on the prices, dude?
The prices make total sense because they saw Series S. They took a loss. They said, $100 difference between consoles. I remember $50 difference between consoles and multiple generations, but $100 difference. And it's only a disc drive from what we understand at this point, because we don't freaking know. I mean, they have been so all over the place that I'm like, what you said about the SoC and everything else kind of makes sense. And it's sad. Like, you're not clarifying to your gamers. And actually, and I want to say this, keep that same energy. You're sitting on your own hardcore audience that's sitting there on Twitter talking ish about Xbox.
Right.
And we're sitting there like, dude, like, this is just pro gamer. And that's the whole point. Like, you just got me to say, hey, I'm going to buy a PlayStation 4 now. That's what you did for me.
Yeah. Again, that's what, when we break it down, that's really what it comes down to. The question is, and I don't know if you're ready to answer it. Do you need to buy a PlayStation 5?
Hell no, I don't. Why should I? I mean, you showed that tease at the end of God of War, and you said coming 2021. It's not coming. You get that. Get your head out of your ass. They're gonna either say, oh well, we're just saying it's coming. We're gonna show you more in 2021. That's all they're gonna do. They are masters of marketing, and because people are analyzing them so much at this point, it has become people are going to call you out when you are wrong. You know what I mean? And they are doing that. I mean, I didn't get as excited for God of War as I did Fable, and they didn't even put a release year or coming or anything for Fable. I mean, I feel like
basically what they did, dude, is they pulled a Sony.
Yeah, that's what they did. And Sony's trying to be Xbox all of a sudden. I mean, you got all this stuff going on. They're trying to sell you, the PlayStation Plus collection, quotes. Yeah. Okay. So apparently from what I'm hearing is you're going to be able to just download those games, but I think they're going to pull back on that because this pricing just tells me that they were like, oh shit.
Yeah.
Here's the Series S. And you got to keep in mind that I look at everything, and the showcase was not bad. It was good. It was about the same as the Xbox showcase, in my opinion. You know what I mean? But you have to understand that I look at the specs and everything else, and they're not saying frames per second. They're not doing any of that stuff. And I want to hear that. Why am I going to next gen for you?
Yeah.
So
it's funny you say that. It's funny you bring that up, and I also, besides the price, I want people to elaborate on what was missing from this, because one of the things I think that you cannot fault Microsoft regarding messaging is the transparency of what you're getting in the box and boxes. Now that we know that the S is real, we know that if you're going to spend $299, you're going to get 1440p, upwards of 120 frames per second. And you know how we know that's true? Because we saw Gears 5 running at 1440p, 120 FPS. That is sick. Okay, they showed 13 games during that that Series S breakdown. There's again, Sony is being very coy. I mean, listen, I reserved my PlayStation 5. It's half paid for already, folks. I got this one. Mrs. Boomstick and I. And P.S. by the way, just a quick update. Mrs. Boomstick was able to get her hands on a digital version, so the giveaway for the channel that we're going to be doing in a couple of weeks is secured. So if you are a winner, you will be getting the digital version of the PlayStation 5 and Miles Morales. That is secured. So thanks to Mrs. Boomstick, who stepped it up once again. But getting back to this particular point, do we know about Velociraptor? Do they have the Velociraptor engine? I don't know. Do they have again? So much of what we know that the Xbox can do, the big boy, those questions were not answered. Now, granted, I think it was quite a fine show. I quite enjoyed it, but the backwards compatible games, they didn't go into real detail on, are they going to be upgraded? Is a 60 FPS game going to be 120? Is a 30 going to be 60? Are they going to get ray tracing? I don't know. This is so like you were saying, that Crispy, that there's a lot of unanswered questions here.
And that's exactly the point, is that you can't clarify what's going on right now. You're releasing, and I feel like we're going to see Xbox drop, like, hypothetically at your local GameStop, 50 consoles between the two SKUs.
You think that many?
I think at the least 50 consoles to the two SKUs, because they have so much invested in the manufacturing that I've watched Phil so many times just be like, oh, no, we're good. Like, he wasn't saying that, but he's like, no, we got this. You know what I mean? Like, we're not worried about the hardware. He was disappointed that Halo Infinite could come out with it, because I think that would be a nail in the coffin for a lot of people. You know, personally, I mean, the way the game looked as far as gameplay, not necessarily graphically, it looked amazing. It looked like a cross between Doom and Halo, with Halo's story involved, which is just great. And, you know, like, graphically, I was not impressed at all, but I wasn't impressed in a lot of stuff I saw today. And we'll get into that. But, you know, the price point is very... It's interesting to be $100 between the two consoles and not have a less power. It's just a disc drive. And the disc drive, I mean, Sony is bought into Blu-ray, so it probably costs them $10 and it costs Microsoft $20. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's listen. It's going to be a very interesting remainder of the show. I want to bring Tempest Sun into the conversation, but Tempest, before I do, let me just catch up with some of these outstanding super chats. There's been quite a few of them that have come in. Bounty Boom drops the first super chat of the evening with a $2 super chat. Thank you for your generosity, my brother, and thank you for being here. He says, "Let's get it on, Boom." And yes, we are going to do that right now. Kenta Wilson, a good friend of the show, drops an outstanding $5 super chat and says, "I still think the Series S will be the generation leader." And I agree with you. And I think most people in this panel and the chat would agree with that. Remember, folks, consumers that are not us. See, that one of the biggest problems with the hardcore is sometimes we're up our own noses. Right? Our noses are so pointed to the sky that we cannot see our feet. People don't think like us. Casual gamers don't think like us. They just don't. And those casual gamers are going to look for a box that can play Call of Duty, that can play NBA 2K, WWE, whatever, and an occasional first-party game that's popular. They're going to play their Fortnite. They're going to play their Apex Legends. And they can do that for $300 at 1440p, upwards of 120 frames per second. The reason why Sony stomped out Microsoft the first 3 years wasn't their first party. Their first party output was slow. It was hardly anything. It was the price. The 1080p makes you a better gamer. 3 more blades of grass in this game than Microsoft. Trust me. the price is going to matter. And Microsoft doesn't care whether they sell X's or S's. In fact, I think they would rather sell more S's than X. They'll never admit it. But let me continue with the super chats. Nightwolf 3186 drops an outstanding $5 super chat and says, "Have a great night, brothers. This is going to be an exciting one for sure." Also, Zemi, Harry Potter Legacy. Did Zemi squeal? Yes, he did.
Yes. Very loud.
Yes, he did.
Yeah. My neighbor's called 911.
Oh, I Wonder Gaming drops an outstanding $5 super chat. Thanks for being here. And of course, thank you for your generosity. He says, "The fact that the bulk of their games will be available on the PS4 confirms I will get a PS5 in 2021 at the earliest. Sony follows the trendsetter." Interesting theory. And I think a lot of people are not buying a PlayStation 5 because they can get all of these games. Pixelbit G, a very generous friend of the show, drops an outstanding $2 super chat. Spider-Man Miles Morales only possible on PS5. Talk about lies in all caps. Indeed. Black Eye Dog, another generous friend of the show, drops an outstanding $5 super chat. Says, "Absolutely no need to buy a PlayStation 5 right now, but I did anyway." Yeah, that's I'm right there with you, brother. Bounty Boom drops an outstanding $2 super chat. Another one says, "We are going to buy a PS and plug it in and fire." Well, my God, dude, I hope not, because my PlayStation 4, and I've told this story before, when I brought it home, the cord, the power cord melted out of the back. Yeah, that's right. My first PlayStation 4 experience was the cord melted out of the back, and I had to wait 2.5 weeks to get another one, which I was pissed. We also have AJ Harris with the outstanding $2 super chat and says, "This got my PlayStation 5 pre-order. Come on, November, get here." Yes, I cannot wait. Harry Balls drops an outstanding $5 super chat. Harry Balls, thanks so much for hanging out, dude. Super appreciate it. He says, "People need to call out the biased gaming media and fanboys for bashing Microsoft for cross-gen games. Where is the same energy? Where is Jason Schreier?" My God, you asked a great question.
Yes, sir.
We are going to answer it. So Tempest, you have a lot to catch up on here and say what are your thoughts on the prices first, and and then we're going to kind of dance around what we talked about with the crispy.
Yeah, it's what of a lot of us, I guess, expected. $100 difference for just the drive not being there.
Yeah,
is a little outrageous. I don't know how you look at it. I don't know if you look at it as a really good thing or you look at it as the people that are getting the disc version are kind of getting screwed. You can look at it however you want to. The only a less capable machine than the Series X is the same price, so it is what it is. You got to ask yourself what you're mainly going to be playing. But then the discless version being $399, it's right there smack dab in between the Series X and the Series S. I could picture a lot of people trying to get their hands on that one just because it is cheaper. So I don't know. The pricing, from everything we've grown knowledge on lately, could have been really, really ugly. I kind of feel like this was the absolute best and the best case scenario and most realistic scenario we could have gotten for price. So, is what it is. At least you're not paying more than you would for the competing console. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, yeah. And what else did you ask me about?
I actually, you know what, we kind of got lost in the weeds a little bit with what I was talking about with Crispy, which we're going to come back around to. So the question I'm going to ask, and we'll come back around to it once again because I have a whole topic for it.
Right.
In your opinion, what Sony did today, where their terror tactics have blown up in their face, right? Because that's exactly what I called it. You can call it whatever. It fits your narrative. I'm telling you that they told us, and I mean us because I'm a diehard gamer and I'm going to own every system. That's just what I do, right? They told us that if I wanted to play Miles Morales, I needed a PlayStation 5. They told me that if I wanted Demon's Souls Remastered, I needed a PlayStation 5. They told us straight-faced, stone cold, that if you want to play Ratchet and Clank because you're warping from one room to a next, you need the fast SSD. But everything is coming to the PlayStation 4 as well as the 5.
Yeah.
Again, the word lies.
Liars.
Liars comes out. And what are your thoughts on this, dude?
Oh, it's absolutely ridiculous. Okay, as Xbox fans, just period, for months now, been getting slapped in the face. Xbox themselves been getting slapped in the face. And I don't just mean by the toxic trolls on Twitter. I mean by media outlets. Every single one of them pretty much saying, oh, this is a bad thing. Why would you do this? Why would you do that? And you cannot sit here and tell me that this wasn't the plan from Sony the entire time. The entire freaking time. You mean to tell me that every single one of those games that we thought were going to be PS5 exclusives, because that's what they told us.
Yeah.
You don't just snap your fingers and say, you know what? No, they're also coming to PS. Some of these games are launching in less than 2 months, right? And you can't just whip up a PS4 port that quickly. They knew back during their July or June. Is it June? Yeah, their June show that it was coming to PS4. So they just lied. I mean, people want to get on like Phil Spencer's case for saying a few things like out of turn years ago, that they might have naturally changed their mind on some stuff, right? Well, this is just as big of a lie as you can possibly get. Will they catch any actual heat from it? I don't know.
That is going to be an interesting conversation. And you know something?
Why would they?
It's funny.
It's pro-consumer. Like, yeah, they lied, but it's pro-consumer. Why would they catch any flack for that?
I mean, again, what we're going to do is we're going to probably come back around to that question and see how the media responds. Because if everyone recalls, the minute Microsoft said that they were gonna for 2 years have games running on the Series X, Series S, and the Xbox, the OG Xbox ones, the media tore them to pieces over this.
They did. Yep. They did.
They tore them to and I'm talking every mom and grop shop, like Greg Miller says, to every major media outlet tore them a new asshole for this.
Yeah, they certainly did. And I want to be upfront and honest here, though. I even made a tweet about it, and I genuinely, in this case, just this one case, just this one. I said months ago, personally, I said, I think it's terrible that Sony is locking Miles Morales behind
I said that
$400 to $500 paywall.
Yes.
Now that that's not the case, seriously, golf clap. I truly do mean that. I thought it was terrible for a existing PS4 owner to have to pay for. It is a PS4 game. Don't get it twisted. It's a PS4 game, and we have proof of it right now that it is a PS4 game because it's coming out to PlayStation 4 at the exact same time, right? So I thought it was wrong of them to do that. But now where it gets absolutely positively insane to me is months SSD. Some people thought this SSD was a freaking separate graphics card. Like, dude, this SSD could do anything you could imagine. You just imagine something and it wills it into existence. That's how powerful this SSD was. If you wanted a steak
dinner, right? It made it for you.
Exactly. Okay. That's how powerful this thing was. And the only way you could get something like Horizon, the new Horizon game, was on this SSD. There's no flipping way in the world it could be achieved on a PS4. Heard it for months.
Yeah.
Not the case. Coming out to PlayStation 4. That shocked me. That was shocking. And I absolutely, you asked the question to Crispy, but I'm just going to ask it to myself here. Do you need a PS5? And I hate to be that guy, but no, you don't need it. If you are going to be gaming on the Sony platform a lot, then sure, it's great to have. It's going to be more powerful than the PS4, right? It just is. But do you absolutely have to have it? Right now, I don't think really. Is there a single game besides the Astrobot thing that gets shipped with it? Is there actually a single only PS5 exclusive now?
Ratchet.
Yeah, well, right now, again, they haven't confirmed Ratchet and Clank being, coming to the PlayStation 4. But if everything else is, what one could assume that that's just going to be the case. And
Right.
there's going to be some things that version just can't do. It's, again, let me just catch up some of the super chats because they are starting to fly in here. We have Bounty Boom, who dropped quite a few of them. He dropped a $2 and a $5. So thank you for your generosity, Bounty. Super, super appreciated. His first one says, we have no new info. Wow. And yeah, there's a lot of stuff with the PlayStation 5 that we don't know. I mean, I have mine paid for almost. I just got to drop another $200 and it's mine, but I still don't know a lot about it. And I think that's a little weird. I'm going to be honest, but I'm buying it anyway. We also have my God, I don't even know how to pronounce this. It's GTI FIV. Drops an outstanding $5 super chat and says Microsoft should be spiteful and add a $40 mail-in rebate to the Xbox Series S. Listen, I don't know what Microsoft is going to do, but did anyone find it strange that they didn't say that this was the manufacturing price point of these new consoles? That they worded it different as almost as if they wanted to change the price.
Yeah.
To be D-bags about it and they really stick it to some. Again, I don't think they're going to do it, but it would be very interesting and show-stopping if they did. We have Sana.com drops. He says, stop lying. Ratchet and Clank is
Ratchet and Demon Souls, but that's not correct because Demon Souls is coming to PC. Like I said, hate to be that guy, but we've been getting this crap shoved in our face for months now.
Yeah,
the whole PC thing for years. So it's like, live with it. Just accept it, buddy. You might not like it, but
well, I mean, again, Demon Souls could potentially come to PlayStation PlayStation 4. I don't see why that particular game needed to be on the PlayStation 5 other than to sell consoles. The problem with that Sony is dealing with right now is, okay, Demon Souls is going to go to PC and it's going to go to PS5, right? I have a funny feeling they're going to announce very soon that it's coming to PlayStation 4. And the reason why that is, and the reason why Ratchet and Clank could potentially be announced as coming to the PlayStation 4 is because PlayStation has 110 million PlayStation 4s. They're not going to have, I mean, folks, we did a story on how they're focusing on North America. Okay. It's in short demand. My store where I reserved mine only got 20. I believe Gaming Forte only got 28 in his store. No one had, and I've talked to quite a few managers that I know. No one's gotten over 30. They've always been 20 to 25, depending on how much business the store makes. That's not a lot of consoles, right? And right now, Best Buy isn't taking reserves, from what I understand. I tried it on Amazon when I didn't have the digital for the giveaway, and they're not taking reserves yet. So it's going to be. It's going to be hard to find these consoles. If you can't sell a console, you can't sell a game.
Yeah. Some people in the chat are saying that it was an error, that they didn't mean to say it's coming to PC. I don't know how the hell you make that error, but
yeah, well, listen, we can only report on what they reported on.
Yeah.
You know, if it's not coming to PC and it's a PlayStation 5 exclusive, it is a launch title. We know that, and I'm going to buy it. I'm not going to probably be good at it because I suck at Demon Souls, but it's fine. I'm still going to buy it. But I have again, not to be. Listen, we've seen games that look just as good as Demon Souls in the form of God of War, much bigger games, and that ran fantastic on the PlayStation 4. There's no reason why Demon Souls by Bluepoint cannot run on a PlayStation 4. And I have a feeling they're going to announce that it's coming to the PlayStation 4 as well. Maybe they don't say it until launch, maybe because they want people to buy the console. But they can't make, again, you can't spend millions of dollars making a game if no one could buy the game because you don't have the systems to buy. It doesn't make any sense. Listen, we're going down a rabbit hole here, folks. We're completely out of off kilter. Let me just reel this back in as the host. Gamer by Choice drops an outstanding $5 super chat and says, the narrative will not be that they lied, but they pivoted, and it's great for gaming and nothing will happen to them. If Phil did it, Microsoft would be liars and cheats. Again, we're going to have to see how me personally, I applaud the move. I think seeing Miles Morales on the PlayStation 4 is necessary, simply because one, they don't have enough consoles to sell to make a profit on Miles Morales, and two, there are 100. I mean, they sold 15 million copies on the PlayStation 4. Let's just say, for shits and giggles, that 5 million of that 15 were diehards like us, right? They're going to buy Miles Morales. You could potentially get a Breath of the Wild situation. Remember, when the Switch came out, it was 1-to-1. It was unheard of in gaming. One console, one copy of Breath of the Wild. As there was a point where people bought more copies of Zelda Breath of the Wild than there were consoles available. That's never happened in gaming history. So because Spider-Man is who he is, and because Miles Morales, quite frankly, in my opinion, is a hero this world needs right now, we could see a 1-to-1 kind of a deal, which I'm expecting. I cannot wait to play it. It's probably going to be my game of the year because I love Spider-Man, and I loved Spider-Man 2018. So who knows? But you know what? Let's bring in Shandi here. Shandi, listen. You heard about what we're talking about, and we're going to get into the weeds of this thing. Obviously, the question everyone's going to be asking towards the end of this of this particular topic is, do you need a PlayStation 5? But before you answer that, what are your thoughts on the pricing? I mean, is this a good pricing for the PlayStation 5 digital and physical? Is it price versus power? Is it Demon Souls versus the medium? Is it Spider-Man Miles Morales versus the Ascent? I mean, obviously, depending on who you ask, some people are going to suggest that PlayStation has the better two launch games. And let's not forget Bugsnax Game of the Year. Bugsnax, it's going to be a fun game. People are going to probably buy it. You got Devil May Cry in there also, which is the Game of the Year edition, which is cool, which is great. What are your thoughts on the pricing?
First off, it's the price that I called out. If you don't believe me, you can check me out in RDX chat yesterday when they asked about it. It was the price they had to go with. They had no option. Xbox, I feel like because I feel like it is Xbox that has the malleable price, but it was Sony that was waiting on which way to go. And when Xbox came out with the 500 and 300, I bet you Sony top brass were like, you fucking assholes. You just screwed us.
Yeah. So do you think that the original price point was 5 and 6? 5 for the digital, 6
no,
I
think the original price would have been when we would have saw 550.
Oh, okay. Okay. So and again, that's never happened in gaming before. By the way,
X would have went 6, caught a crap ton of flack. Even though the console's totally worth it, they would have got raked through the coals, right? Then Series S would have been possibly 3 or 4. Then PlayStation could have went 550 with their disc, and they could have went either 5 or 450, but more than likely they would have went 5 for the digital.
Well, it would only been. I mean, again, when you buy the Blu-ray disc drive, right, in the bulk that they're buying it in, you're probably paying, I don't know, 10, 15, let's just say for shits and giggles, 20 per unit. So again, the people like myself who don't want to be painted into a corner bought the one with the disc. Like I'm old school. I have a lot of disc games still. It's weird. I buy everything for Xbox digital, but everything for Nintendo and for PlayStation, I buy the physical disc. I don't really like buying digital stuff from them. So I need it.
And like I feel bad for people who are going to have, like, people who do feel that way, like they're a physical buyer for PlayStation, because I feel like the $400 digital, that's a great price.
It is a great price. It is
a fair price. The 500 feels a little like
you got kicked in the balls, basically.
Yeah, it's a fair price for the console, but because Xbox did 500 for their Series X, and we all know it's way more powerful. I don't care about that SSD. The console itself is way more powerful. Yes. It kind of feels like you're getting slighted. You're like, okay, so Xbox over here is $500. They're obviously have more power, but now I'm about to get this console for $500 as well, and the only thing they got above it is the SSD. I don't feel great about this, but you kind of got to if you're a disc person, right? So I feel bad for people like that. I mean, I'm going with the digital. So.
Oh, you are going all digital. Okay, I mean, all right. I mean, my brother Neo Mental is going digital because he said he only buys. I mean, he's like me. He only buys their exclusives. So he says, why am I going to buy the disc one for $100 more when I only buy 4 games for PlayStation a year?
Yep, that's exactly what I'm doing. I'm only when I get the console, it's only for the exclusives. Everything will be on Xbox for me. As far as do I feel like I need to buy it? Now, I'm a little different. I don't own a PS4. So my thought process kind of is like, why not? Why would I don't feel like going to go buy PlayStation 4 Slim or Pro when I'm just going to eventually in 2 years upgrade to the 5. So I might as well get the 5 now. But my only issue with it is I was waiting in that entire presentation for them to explain back compat to me.
And they did.
Because I'm trying to buy all the old exclusives from 4, but I don't know if they all work. Will they most likely work? Probably.
What they showed a lot of the big ones: Days Gone, Uncharted 4, Last of Us, the Last of Us 1, the HD version.
I didn't see Horizon.
I didn't. I was just going to say I did not see Horizon, which is a little odd. And Spider-Man it wasn't in there either because I believe there's a deluxe edition of Miles Morales that gives you both games.
Yep, they're doing that bundle where it's Spider-Man remastered and it comes bundled with the Miles Morales DLC / standalone.
You know what? I'm going to be honest with you. I platinum Spider-Man, and I'm going to. And again, folks, I admit it. I'm a part of the problem. I'm going to buy that version because I want to platinum Spider-Man again. I'm not even going to lie about it. All right. Yeah, well, listen. Obviously, So my question to you, and I'm not sure if you answered it or not because I'm trying to read these super chats, and there's quite a bit of them that have come in. Are you buying a PlayStation 5? Yes.
I am buying a PlayStation 5, but if you're a person who already owns a PS4,
you don't need to.
It definitely becomes less likely for you need to upgrade right now.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And again, that's a question that we're going to be talking about the next couple of days. Folks, if you are a fan of Double Barrel Gaming, get ready because not only is tomorrow's Xbox Factor going to be fire because a lot of conversations are going to come up with, how the media is going to respond and how Microsoft once again was ahead of the curve. When it comes to offering their current players the ability to play games and not leaving them behind, and that was scoffed upon by many people in the industry. We're going to be revisiting that tomorrow, and then Breakfast with Boom is going to be a fire show, and then Monday we're gonna wait and see how the media responds to this. I think that it's at some point that media is going to find a way to cheer Sony for being the most, now they've surpassed Microsoft as being the most consumer friendly. No, they didn't do it to be consumer friendly. They did it because it's a business move. They had no choice. Mm-hmm. They're not going to have enough PlayStation 5s to sell. In turn, that means they're not going to have enough games to go with said systems, and they had to make this move. And I think, like someone said earlier, they knew this was going to happen because you can't just trip over the garden gnome and look, there's Demon Souls or there's Spider-Man Miles Morales for the PS4. They knew this was going to happen, and they tried to scare people into buying a PlayStation 5, and it blew up in their face. We're gonna be coming back around to that, but Zemi, I'll bring you in at the end. I want to hear your opinion on it. But VJ, when you see what happened tonight, we got the price. The price is $399 for digital, $499 for the physical. The big question with a lot of the games coming to the PlayStation 4, and like I said, I still think Demon Souls is going to be announced. I still think that Ratchet and Clank is going to be announced at some point. Sure. And if that in fact is the case, do you need to buy a PlayStation 5?
The simple answer is no. But I've listened to everybody's thoughts, and I hope you don't mind me just summarizing everything from a Sony perspective. Just so you know that on day one, I'm not buying the PS5. I'm buying an X. So
Okay.
that's out there because I don't want because I just have like DMs and other people. So anyway, the 499 399 price point was inevitable, and I think pretty much everybody guessed it, right? And I know some people on Twitter and stuff are still confused why there's $100 discount between the two. So I didn't see Sony pricing themselves in any such way, right? Basically trying to self-inflict a stutter in their business plan. Yeah, you may say, you know, Sony were forced into a 399 all digital price point since Sony don't have an answer to Game Pass. And that's true for the moment, but I think there's some other factors to consider why they went with 399. So from my perspective, 399 served Sony so well in terms of what they achieved with the PlayStation 4. And I think that they don't just have one scenario, right? They have several scenarios, and I'm sure that they've always wanted to work towards that. But then how did they achieve it? That particular price point led Sony also to something really important, which was the tie ratio with software, right? 10-1, which is another thing that they're definitely focused on trying to achieve with the PS5. Digital is the future, and they are withdrawing from retail quicker than we think.
Yeah.
Personally, $50 was never enough of an incentive to switch to digital, but now I'm thinking about it, right? So you got to look at it from that perspective as well. For me, the digital machine, whether it's Microsoft with the Series S or whether it's Sony with the PS5 all digital, it's just a virtual cash register. The economics have completely changed for Microsoft and Sony by a considerable amount, especially compared to the savings that they're now making in terms of a corporation, say, compared to, say, 2013. So what are those savings? So just for the benefit of everybody, and I'm sorry if I'm repeating myself from previous shows. So you've got reduced manufacturing costs via DADC, which is Sony's disc and Blu-ray production plant. Mm-hmm. In the UK, they've also, I think they've already closed it or they're about to close it, but you've also got reductions in the overall infrastructure in terms of physical logistic costs, the manpower required there, the sales reps that they have in all the different states, the savings there, because they take a few percent off the top, I can tell you. So you've got retailer margins, MDF, returns, secondhand market, and I definitely don't see any shared gains video this time around, right, from Sony, right, through friends. So then you've got the increased profit that Sony and Microsoft are both making from digital sales. So what I calculated roughly from the prices and the first party royalty rates, these guys are making another $27 on a full price first party game, which
yes, that's correct. Yep. Mm-hmm.
So, but I also want to mention the PlayStation 4 again, if I may, yeah. And I mentioned this on with our good friend Clowns yesterday. So, and they said it was a good point. So I hope you don't mind me bringing it up again.
Yeah, go crazy.
Sure. So it's still going to sell around 10 million units this year, and maybe 50 million units or 100 million units of software somewhere in that region. So I was assuming a price drop is logical, if not inevitable. So what is that price going to be? Sony will be rinsing every single cent out of the PS4 in its catalog of games. So I'm not surprised because, I mean, look, you and Tempest Sun, I think I was listening to that show, or I was on it when you guys were saying there is no way, how can the company make a decision not to put Spider-Man on PS4, right? And everybody was saying, oh, it's exclusive, it's being built from the ground up. But you guys knew it at the time, right? You guys saw
it's basically an expansion. They knew it too.
Yeah. Sounds like I was talking to a wall, buddy.
Yeah, but they couldn't like, you know, cast a shadow on you guys, right? You guys know what was happening, right? So that's really, really, really good. So Sony is going to be rinsing every single cent out of the PS4 console and its catalog of games and exclusive night. But historically, they've always known exactly how to see out a system, and Sony will definitely have a protective mindset. And I know you've touched on this, Boone. Have a protective mindset when it comes to their golden goose in hand, which is obviously the PS4, since technically. Well, I say technically up until about a couple of hours ago, they hadn't sold a single PS5, right? So they need to protect and herd that 110 million or whatever it is PS4 owners and the 45 million PlayStation Plus subscribers carefully and to the PS5. So this is why I thought that. Sorry, I'll come on to Xbox in a minute. So does the PlayStation 5 all digital machine at $399 help the transition? No, it doesn't. What it does for me, it actually further cements the transition and keeps it out of the grasp of Xbox. And that's what they've tried to do, because this is why I thought potentially it was a reason why Xbox positioned the Series S together with Game Plus Ultimate. I don't know what the prepackaged version is, but obviously in terms of the all access allows you, right, in terms of a 24-month subscription bundled in with the cost of acquiring the machine. But it strategically made sense for me for Xbox to price it at $299 retail. I thought it would curtail or even cut into the lifespan and the audience of the PlayStation 4 and drag some of those customers across to them. But with obviously Miles Morales and Horizon Zero Dawn, and look, I don't know whether the other games are coming or not.
Yeah, I just want to just confirm it. Real, I'm at IGN right now. According to IGN, and they did an update. It's not coming to the PlayStation 4. It is coming to the PlayStation 5, and it's also not coming to PC. This is Demon's Souls, so it is an exclusive launch title for the PlayStation 5. I just want to confirm that.
Absolutely.
Let's call it the folly, though.
Yeah, I mean, it's again, they can say whatever they want. They said Miles Morales wasn't coming to the PS4, and here it is. So, I mean, they could still announce that. Who knows?
Sorry, Boom. I just wanted to finish my point.
Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry, but with Miles Morales, Horizon Zero Dawn, or whatever, whether it's God of War 6 or whatever, it doesn't really matter. Coming to the PS4, it's not about those games coming to it. I think Sony are realizing what Microsoft are doing, right? And what they're trying to do is further strengthen, how can I put it, the umbilical cord between PS4 and PS5, because they don't know how long that transition is going to take. None of us do, right? But I believe that. But also, on top of all of this, I think I've been looking into this, and I don't have any answers for you now, but I believe there are additional long-term plans by Sony and Xbox as to why these price points 7 years on are sustainable and work, regardless of everything going digital and so on and so forth. But maybe that's a topic for another Boom show.
Yeah. I mean, obviously that's a deep rabbit hole. But listen, as always, VJ, you completely knock it out of the park, and you always bring sense and sensibility to your to every time you're on the show. So thank you for that. Zemi Games, you said something earlier that I want to get to, and after we get your theories on this, I'm going to get to the super chats, and we're going to move on to the other meaty part of the show. Zemi, you said that this was consumer friendly for a way of Sony being consumer friendly, who in the past has not been, bringing God of War to Horizon, to the West, and of course, Spider-Man Miles Morales to the PlayStation 4. They're not abandoning potential 110 plus million potential customers. Now, granted, are either of those games going to sell 100 million? The answer is they're not, because they did. But could they sell 15 million? Could they sell 20 million? I think they could. So, again, I think that Sony would have left money on the table. That's just my opinion. What do you think? What are your thoughts on the price? Are you buying a PlayStation 5? And what do you think? What are your thoughts on all of these games coming to the PlayStation 4?
I think that the price makes sense. I think it's competitive with towards Xbox. I mean, of course, Xbox still has the $299 console in the Series S that's going to sell like hotcakes, right? Yeah. But I think having the PlayStation 5 all digital right above it, almost like a mid tier, if you will, right in between. The Series S and the Series X and the PS5, I think is very, very smart. I mean, we have to remember that, the PlayStation All Digital has the same exact hardware inside it that the PlayStation 5, just standard, I guess, edition has, besides a disc drive, right? So to be able to get the PS5, all digital for $100 less, I think is offering a lot of real value to, PlayStation consumers.
Which one are you going to go with?
Well, I want to go with both if I can pre-order both, right? I don't know if I'm going to be able to get a PlayStation 5 because of, probably because of limited quantities, right? And I think that really kind of, steeps in to, a little bit of what you were saying, in the sense that, this is kind of reason why PlayStation backstepped, and they are now allowing certain titles like Miles Morales and other games as well to go on PS4. And from, a business and marketing standpoint, it makes sense, right? you spend millions of dollars, crafting these games. You're going to want to try to sell them to as big of a market as you can. And if you're only selling on PS5, where it looks like they're going to have very, very limited quantity of consoles, you're definitely not going to be making as much money as you previously could have if you released it on PlayStation 4. But overall, I think that the pricing that PlayStation did makes a lot of sense. It works for them. It works for what appears to be their current business strategy. Some of you guys were talking about how it's kind of crappy for physical game purchasers, how they're going to have to pay $100 more. And, unfortunately, I mean, it is kind of crappy, but that kind of, in some ways, I see that going into PlayStation's strategy here, in the sense that they want to sell these digital consoles more than they want to sell these physical consoles. They're going to make more money off of a digital game purchase. But even more than that, the market is shifting highly towards digital.
Oh yeah, the dinosaurs are dying off, brother.
Yeah, no, I mean more
dying off.
Looking at all of the global game sales, right? More consumers purchase digital than physical, right? That's just a fact. And it's shifting more in digital's favor each and every year that passes. It makes sense for PlayStation to jump on this now and try to transition their consumers to adopting that digital only, practice, right? So I mean that definitely makes sense. Was there a second question on the back end?
I mean, okay. Well, I mean, I'll ask you. The question: you're going to buy a PlayStation 5. When you can get a PlayStation 5, you're obviously going with digital, I would imagine.
Yeah, I'm definitely going with digital. I mean, the only reason why I'm planning on getting a Series X is because it's just the more powerful console, and I just want, I just want as many frames as I can get, and like in the best textures possible, and I want the whole shebang, right? But for PlayStation, for instance, if Xbox Series X, if they released a all digital version of the X, I would buy the all digital version of the X, right? The whole reason why I'm buying the digital is just because physical game purchases just really are not important to me at all, right? I don't perceive myself putting a disc into my console and playing it anytime soon.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I'm going to be honest with you. The reason why I like the choice of having the disc drive isn't because I'm set in my ways. I have about 100 digital games on my PlayStation 4. I don't buy all of them on digital. I buy a lot of the what I wait for. And again, maybe because I'm when you're retired, folks, you got to manage your money better, right? It's once a month you get paid. That's it. There's no real overtime. I used to be an overtime freak. I used to work overtime for games. I can't do that anymore. I'm retired. So you got to be smart. I don't buy the major first party games. I buy everything from Sony, and including the collector's editions, by the way. But games like Concrete Genie, I missed out on stuff like Tetris Effects, the Wolfenstein VR, stuff like the Gungrave VR, stuff like that. Did I really need it? No. Could I have afforded it and kind of maybe cut corners? Yeah, but did I want to do that? So what I do is I wait for the end of the year sale for GameStop. I know people hate GameStop. GameStop sucks. I love GameStop. Buy two, get one free. Yo, I went crazy. That I had $800 in gift cards, folks, from last Christmas. I was holding on to, and I spent about $400 of it. I bought all kind of Switch games, buy two, get one free. I went crazy, especially in PlayStation. So I have all these discs, and I'm not gonna paint myself into a corner. So the $100 difference, it doesn't bother me. It is what it is. If you're gonna go digital, good for you. My brother's going digital, good for him. Let me catch up on some of these super chats, and then we're gonna get into some more of the spicy topics. Regulator 951 drops an outstanding $2 super chat and says, "We still haven't seen the physical console." No, we haven't. Now we saw some pictures of it, but we haven't seen the actual console. Like they didn't send it to all of these YouTubers for us to play around with it, like Microsoft has done. Again, a little strange, but Sony is. They're Sony. Gamer by Choice Let's see. Did I get you before? He dropped the $5 super chat. Says the narrative will not be that they lied, but oh yeah, I did get you before. Well, thank you, Gamer by Choice. Super appreciate it. Nightwolf 3186 drops an outstanding $5 super chat. Says it is possible we still get. Is it possible that we still get the initiative announcement here soon? Someone just tell what they're doing over there. What do you guys think? I think that Microsoft. I heard, and again, this is. I don't have big connections, folks. But I did hear that Microsoft has some stuff left to show. Now, is there going to be an XO? I don't know. Because of obviously the pandemic, but they apparently have some stuff to show. I know that Crispy said that we might get a Hellblade 2 tomorrow, which would be kind of dope because, obviously we have the Xbox Factor podcast. Bounty Boom drops another super chat, too. Thank you for your generosity. It's a $2 super chat. It says, hit that like button. Great show, people. And folks, we're closing in on 800 people here. This is a record high for this show. I don't think I'm going to get to the dealer gaming numbers, which are into the 3Ks, because dealer is dealer, and that panel is ridiculous. But we could potentially hit 1K today, and that would be ridiculous for this small show. So if you're here, if you're enjoying the banter, if you enjoy Double Barrel Gaming, hit the like button. Let's get 300 likes at least. I mean, we already have 700 people here. Let's try and get at least 300 likes before you guys and gals get out of here. Okay, this is my favorite one. Wilbo Gaggins. He says, drops a $5 super chat. Thank you for that, and thank you for being here. Sony fans and game journalists really need to make Sony more accountable for all of their misleading information and outright lies. Very tired of it. That's a fact. That's a great comment. The Wise Old Gamer drops an outstanding $5 super chat and says, I'm the reason Spider-Man is on the PlayStation 4. In class, I asked Sony if it takes 120 million people to buy 10 million games, how many games will 15 million users buy? I mean, that's a great point. That, again, a fantastic point. And again, some people would consider 15 million versus 110 million not a good thing, but Spider-Man 2018 is the best-selling PlayStation 4 game. I loved it. I platinumed it. I think it's going to be great to play again on the PlayStation 5. I think Miles Morales is going to be great. I don't know why there's that kind of a ratio. Why didn't 15 more million buy Spider-Man? I don't know. I don't know. I just think that the percentage of people that actually buy first party exclusives is minuscule compared to how many people actually buy third party games. You're never going to hear me say that I don't want to buy them, but I think that most people, the casual market, don't care about first-party games. They don't care about those exclusives. They want their Maddens, they want their 2Ks, they want their Call of Duties, and they want their GTAs. Maybe they'll buy a Spider-Man because he's popular in the MCU. But even then, that didn't, I don't know. I don't know what the answer is for that. A very generous and good friend of the show, Eagles fan 76, drops an outstanding $2 super chat and says, boom, everything King said was true. Lion Ryan. Yeah, King was today. King was ridiculous.
King was lit, bro.
King was ridiculous today. We also have DJ Berto, a very generous friend of the show. He drops an outstanding $10 super chat and said over 700 watching. Boom, might hit 1K tonight. Hey, that's crazy. I just said that. Hit the like button, folks. Where is the physical PlayStation 5? How they're going to open pre-orders with a render? Yeah, that's a good question. Is Sony trying to pull a fast one? Well, I mean, listen, the pre-orders are done, at least for GameStop. A lot of people got screwed. And, thankfully I was able to get the one we're giving away, which that was super important to me because I want to give away the console. But I was also able to snag the disc one for myself. That was great. Sikio Yumi drops an outstanding $2 super chat and says 100% Spider-Man looked like plastic covered in oil. I mean, look, everyone is.
That shit look fire, dude.
I gotta be honest with you. Listen, I'm a big old Spider-Man nerd. I still read comic books. I call them books. You can call them comic books, fine, whatever. I call them books. I still read books. I'm right now knee deep into the Three Jokers. It's amazing, that book. And I'm waiting for Marvel to pump out some really good stuff. Hopefully, they'll do something with Spider-Man soon, where it's like monumental. But Getting back to the show, folks. Let's get back to the show at hand. You know, we're going to cover a couple of topics in one tasty egg roll here, because you know, obviously there's a lot to cover, and we only have 2 hours to do it, right? So let's talk about two important things. One, the launch date. Holy balls of steel! 2 days after the Series X and S launch. My God, I didn't see that coming. I thought for sure, like a good friend of the show, Randolph 19, he thought the 17th or the 19th. I thought that there was going to be a little bit of a gap. There's not. They're literally going to choke out the consumer who wants both of these consoles, because man, oh man, if you're buying both big boys, that's $1,000, and they're 2 days separated apart. And here's the thing: a couple of days ago, I think I said it on prime time when we were talking about that I think that Microsoft might have won the generation. If you look at the way they had positioned themselves on the 10th, there's a lot of games coming out on the 10th, but there were 2 games in bookends. The 6th being Dirt 5, which again, it's not Forza Motorsport, but it's still running at 4K 120 frames per second only on the Series X. And then you had Call of Duty on the 13th, and I'm like, my God, could you imagine if you're playing the new Call of Duty before PlayStation players can play it on their PS5? That's madness. So I never thought for a second that Sony would release on the 12th. And here they are. They're coming out on the 12th. And of course, the pre-orders. Pre-orders literally came and went. Amazon, not yet. I think someone in the chat said they got it from Target. I went to Target. I didn't see it. Walmart, I think there was a super secret one but I went there. I didn't see it. But GameStop was the one that had only, at least my store only had 20 of them. I think that people are going to get the short end of the stick. And according to the manager that I spoke to, he doesn't believe they're getting another shipment. Wow, folks, that sucks. That sucks a lot if you really wanted this console. And Crispy, I'll go to you first. Are you surprised by the release date? And more importantly, how they dropped the pre-orders? Because they announced the 17th, which is tomorrow, for select stores, select retailers, which I think it's probably going to be some of the big chains. I think you're going to get the Best Buys in there. You're probably going to get Amazon tomorrow. I would imagine, like someone said, Target is already doing it, and Walmart probably will have them tomorrow as well. Are you surprised by either of the announcements?
Absolutely not. I mean, at the end of the day, they want to go for the U.S. market, and I mean, it's one of those things where like they probably portioned it up where they said, okay, Amazon is online only. Many people are going to try to purchase this console online only.
Yeah.
We're going to do like 10,000 to them or 20,000 or 30,000. You don't know what it is. And then you got the GameStops. If you go through all of them, it's probably amounting to, half of that. Because I mean, I bought most of my consoles off either Amazon or, because I'm an Xbox guy, Microsoft. One or the other. You know what I mean? So I just want it brought to me. Like, I don't have to do anything. That's my take on it. That's why I feel like Xbox is in a different level with them. You know what I'm saying? The only reason why I feel that way is that they just have this, greatness that they just like present to you. You know what I mean?
They are hitting on all switches, bro. I mean, listen, the
hardware, not software. I'm talking hardware.
Yeah, and that's really what I meant, dude. They what they're doing is they're giving you, and I mean you particularly, if you want value and you don't care about 4K visuals, you go for the $300 box, right? Or, of course, if you are someone like most of us, then 700 people already here hanging out tonight, and you want the big boy, you want the X, it's there for you.
It just totally makes sense how they presented themselves
Mhm.
because like I said, I was being like really a couple podcasts. It's not even on this one, but a couple podcasts. I was like, they're looking at maybe by the time these consoles launches, possibly 50% have adopted a 4K TV.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? And the problem that people don't realize is I have a 1080p TV that does 120. Okay. It's old school, and yes, it doesn't have HDMI 2.1, but I'm also hearing that that's actual BS when it comes to HDMI 2.1 not being able to run higher frames. It might not hit 120, but if your TV is capable of 120, you might actually get higher than that, especially if it's at a lower resolution. I have a 4K TV that can hit 240. Okay. The problem is that they keep saying HDMI 2.1. Well, guess what? I have a Samsung TV with a one connect box. I can upgrade that. So I can do that at a cost. And that's why like a lot of people are like, why aren't you buying a monitor? Why don't you? Well, some people want to play in 65-inch. Sorry. I don't do that. My TV's at 49-inch, and that's as high as I'm ever going to go. You know? And that's because I can't see the whole screen. You know what I mean? I'm blind in my right eye. I don't see half the screen. I need a smaller TV. And a lot of people don't realize you go to less than 50 inches, you get a lot more involved in the TV. And it's just sad that I don't see anything from Sony to do anything that is comparable to a computer or anything else. Any PC Master Race guy is laughing at what they just showed us because they don't clarify anything. They don't do anything as far as what next gen should be, and it has to be 4K 120, and that's why I want the Series X. Yes, I will be playing an old game. It's called Gears 5. Well, holy hell, I could play that at 120 frames per second, and I pay $500, and I don't have to pay $2,000 or whatever the hell it's going to be to make a freaking PC to do the same thing. I'm good with that.
Yeah. I mean, listen, again, what I'm still a little like taken aback that Sony is really again. Usually it's a week. We usually get a week reprieve, so at least we can enjoy console released on this week and then the console the next week. We have 2 days, and I'm getting both. There's going to be decisions to be made. You know what I'm saying? Some things are going to have to be put on the back burner. Zemi, let me go to you, Zemi. Are you surprised by the move by Sony? To 2 days after the Series X and S launch, the PlayStation 5 digital and physical are going to be available, and more importantly, their pre-order shenanigans. I'm seeing a lot of negativity. While I'm doing the show, I'm looking on the socials, and people are beside themselves. Like people are like straight up anxious. GameStop is already sold out, right? The people are saying Walmart is going to get it. They may get some tomorrow. Walmart is sold out. They may get some on the 22nd. I just read that in a tweet, which is odd that you can reserve the on the 22nd, but they're going to have consoles for you to reserve them as well. What are your thoughts? I mean, does this seem kind of like a misstep for Sony in regards to how they did the pre-orders?
Yeah, so like the release date, I don't really think anything about it, honestly.
Yeah,
2 days after, I don't really care. I'm probably not going to really play anything on my PlayStation until I play Assassin's Creed Valhalla and Cyberpunk on my Xbox anyway.
Right.
And then I will. Oh man, am I going to dive into the what I missed out on PS4 this gen? But as far as the pre-orders, yeah, that's actually what kind of makes me a little bit upset. Is that, like specifically they say pre-orders tomorrow, right? but GameStop was doing pre-orders today, right? And the communication of the pre-orders was just really not there for me, right? Because after they announced the price, I didn't think anything of it. I was thinking, okay, well, maybe tomorrow they'll probably have pre-orders or something. But everybody and their mom and their dog and, even they brought Granny too. Like, they were running to GameStop to pre-order these consoles, and I had no idea what was going on, right? So that's kind of like the disappointment. It's like I never even had a chance. You know what I mean? I never even had a chance to run out and pre-order a console because they just didn't communicate it properly.
Sega Saturn console that almost killed Sega. Just saying.
Well, I don't know if we're going to see a repeat performance. Hopefully that's not going to be the case. But I do feel bad for people that are not in the know. And you know how I found out last night. I was up writing I was up to about 1 writing Thursday's show, and I got an alert from GameStop on the app. And of course, you go through your alerts, and it's like, oh, the deal of the day, or what dropped in price? Oh, a Sony game dropped in price, like $20. Okay, that's great. And there was a third one, and I saw they were advertising the PlayStation 5 event today. I've never seen that before. Like, GameStop is talking about the PlayStation 5. They must be taking pre-orders tomorrow. So on a whim, I called my local GameStop, and they were like, "Yeah, we have very limited." And I literally got out of my seat while I was on the phone, running to make sure that I can lock one, because again, I needed technically 2. I needed the digital, which Mrs. Boomstick paid for, that's the giveaway, and I needed, of course, I want one for myself. So I was able to do that. But yeah, I don't know, man. I just think that there's going to be a lot of people that are going to get the short end of the stick because it wasn't messaged properly. Like, Microsoft came out and said, okay, pre-orders this day on the 22nd, and they even clarified it. There's even times, folks. Like, I think at 8 o'clock in the morning in California on the 22nd. I think that GameStop here, at least in the East Coast, is opening up at 11 o'clock, and you'll be able to pre-order it there. And then obviously Mountain Time is 3 hours earlier. So,
I mean, what just really gets me is, like, it's okay. Like, if I was just slow, if I knew about it and I was slow to the jump and I just couldn't get one, or it would be okay if they announced today pre-orders go live, and I went to GameStop and they said, "Hey, we're already sold out." Like, I would be perfectly fine with that, right? Because at least then I had a chance. You know what I mean? Like, in this situation currently, like, I don't really even know if I'm gonna have a chance. Like, I'm gonna be waking up bright and early tomorrow and visiting some stores. I'm gonna probably stay up pretty late tonight and maybe see if something pops up on Amazon for me to pre-order. But yeah.
All right, very interesting. Sean D, let's bring you into the conversation. Are you surprised by the release date 2 days after? And more importantly, do you think that it might have been a bit of an F-up on Sony's part regarding the pre-orders? Because, like I said, it seems as if we're getting mixed reports. They said on the official site that it was going to start tomorrow, the 17th. GameStop started today. Some people on the chat did it from Walmart. Some people in the chat did it from Target. I mean, was it on purpose? Did they just have mismessaging? What's going on?
Sony knew exactly what they were doing. They created chaos, they created panic, and they created FOMO.
Oh, yeah, they sure did.
Out. So they did the GameStop thing, right? That released early. I remember we were in chat. We were on Twitter, and was it Crispy? Did you pop up and say, like, "Hey, no"? It was Joseph Moran. He popped up and he said that GameStop's already sold out.
Yeah, they sold out while we were in the store.
So people already like, what? They already sold out, and then we heard about the Walmart secretly doing.
There was some back end stuff, man. I heard people had a secret website or secret link that they were using to pre-order the PlayStation 5. Because I went to all of the major sites before I was able to go to GameStop, and no one had anything.
And And so, what do you think is going to happen at 11:59 tonight with Amazon?
Chaos.
Refresh. It's going to be sold out by 12:01.
I'm already going to the site right now.
Yeah, I've been too, man. I've been refreshing myself. and what they're going to capture is they are going to get all their consoles sold.
Yeah,
people were going to miss out anyway, because I'm telling you, I know we heard those rumors and Sony tried to squash it. Like, oh, we don't have an issue. This is what we've been.
Are you talking about the SoCs?
Man, it's less than you think. It's less than you think. It has to be. The reason why they're coming for North America so strong is because Xbox has them nervous, and that's because US people, we don't have loyalty. We go for bargains. Right?
Yeah.
The majority of the casuals come from our area. They go for bargains. Xbox just showed a $300 console for next gen. If people are waiting around to do a pre-order for Sony, let's say Sony said, no, we're going to hold our pre-order until the 29th of September, right? Those people that said, I don't feel like I need to make sure I get a console, man. I'm going to go ahead and lock down this Xbox Series S just in case, because I don't know what's happened with Sony. Maybe they don't have enough consoles. Maybe I won't be able to get one, you know? So they got to have, people have to have something. And the reason why they're coming 2 days after Xbox, as far as showing up, they want to make you have to choose.
Yeah.
And Sony is still the bigger brand, so people will gravitate towards, I want to be with the winner, right?
Yeah, so you know what the problem the problem that I think we're going to see, and again, folks, this is hypothetical. I don't know if this is going to happen. In order to sell your console, you got to have your console on the shelf.
Right.
And if Sony can't get these consoles on the shelves, and again, folks, we're not making this stuff up. I don't know if they're going to be able to. Microsoft might have double, triple the amount of units available, and I think that the Series S is going to be more widely available because that is the breadwinner for them. $300 gets that's considered in business to be one of those that you look at the price and you automatically buy.
Well, that's real quick. Sorry to cut you off.
That's all right.
But that's why we keep seeing Series S gameplay. They're gonna drop that Series X gameplay right before those pre-orders come out. I'm just warning you.
Yeah, I wouldn't doubt it.
I mean, look at it like this, right? You know, a mother goes to any store, right, to buy little Jimmy, a PlayStation that he was wanting. PlayStation sold out, but Xbox is all there and available, and it's cheaper. What do you think the mom's going to do?
Mom is going to buy the $299.
Little Jimmy's going to be playing on Xbox.
And one more thing to put on that, right? During 2013, when Xbox launched the Xbox One, did it not sell out the first shipment for pre-order?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
It did, right? Even though it had the worst showing, right?
Yep.
It was abysmal. Like, everybody's like, Xbox is dead. No, Xbox was available. So guess what? People bought it.
Yes, they did.
And they're going to do the same. And Microsoft is big with numbers. They log them there. So they went back to 2013 and said, man, we did terrible, right? Yeah, but every single console we had available sold out. So
why not?
Next one, we're going to ramp up production.
So why not launch the exclusives after the original, adoption rate? It only makes sense. Next year is going to be lit for Xbox. I'm just warning people now. They are going to be dropping shit all day on Xbox Game Pass, and you're going to love it because you can play it on xCloud. You can do whatever the hell you want. And I'm going to tell you right now, I'm warning you. I'm saying this now. We are not even in November yet. Let's see what happens, because, hey, dude, they're bringing some stuff that this is Phil's vision. He wants the first party to be the best party. That's what he wants.
And they've been doing, I'm sorry, Crispy, but they've been doing that this year. All the games that have launched this year have done very well.
Oh yeah, well, they more so than they've done well on the Xbox. They're killing it, making money hand over fist on Steam.
Yep.
Nah. We're gonna. It is going to be an interesting race to the finish line come November 10th and 12th, respectively. I'm still a little taken aback that they are releasing so close, but I think they almost had to. Like, they logistically had to release before Call of Duty because they're paying big bucks to get the marketing rights. Could you imagine if they didn't release until the 19th and everyone has already played the next gen version, which is going to be better on the Series X before the PlayStation 5 version? It would be ridiculous. So again, not surprising. VJ, let's bring you into the conversation, brother. Are you surprised by how close these consoles are releasing next to one another? And what are your thoughts on the debacle that's going to go down as the PlayStation 5 pre-orders?
I think I might have said it on a couple of weeks ago in the show, Boom, that the that the PlayStation 5 will launch in most places, but the install base push will be in specific territories. And obviously, I think we're seeing that right now. Japan is the home territory, so it's got to be given the nod and it's got to launch there, right? But they're not going to push volumes there, and I've spoken to people there that have confirmed that. Are South Korea, Australia, New Zealand going to require huge shipments? I don't think so.
Probably not.
No, right. So we're just gonna break this down, right? So then you've got the USA and Canada. Obviously, the US is important. In Canada, I suppose as long as MAG and Newf get one each, that's pretty much settled up there, and then the rest will come down here, right? So, sorry, a bit of a dry joke there. So I think North America is exactly where the battle with Xbox is going to be fought.
Yes.
Because I've looked at the numbers historically. I don't have them to hand, so I'm really sorry. But Xbox One has still done very well here in the North America, and hence I think Sony is going to try or will have enough units to focus on North America. But you know how they are, right? They never show all their cards. But knowing Sony, if they do have some spare, where are they going to ship those to? If I know Jim Ryan, he's probably going to ship them to wherever they have the biggest tie ratio to digital software sales, right? So you've got that side of it. Sorry, another silly joke. Then you've got the pre-order available at select retailers, which I thought was happening tomorrow or tonight or something like that. But
it was supposed to be tomorrow morning. I believe it was originally. I think it was going to be like 9 o'clock, 9 a.m. Wherever your time zone was going to be 9 a.m. And it was supposed to take place tomorrow, not today. Okay, so I was with Zemi on Sunday on a podcast, and I was just sitting there. We were just chatting, and I was saying, if Sony want to dampen the serious hype around Xbox, let's not forget that. It was only a few days ago, right? And we spoke in glowing terms of everything that they've done, right? And if they want to dampen the serious hype around Xbox, allow pre-orders to go out on the same day, is what I said to Zemi, and try to ship units earlier. That's the only way. And for me, what Sony have done is drum up PR, which is fine. But do you remember back in June, the VP, I think it was Stephen or someone, he was telling everybody, don't worry, you'll be given ample time. We won't just drop it on you, And so for it to be dropped like this without any forewarning is a little annoying, to say the least, if I'm honest with you. And I mean, you can see that Twitter's alight, right? With everybody flashing their pre-order receipts, right? I saw Forte and loads of other guys, right? So of course that benefits the Sony hype, Sony brand, and that's what they do, right? But it's probably just to push their share price back up, right, after the last few days. But can I just touch on the? I wanted to bring this to your attention. Do you remember the stuff with the SoC chip? I just wanted to mention something about that. So Forbes plus other sources, exactly 20 years ago in 2000. Sorry, not Forbes, CNN. They reported, and I'm paraphrasing it, Sony will have to cut launch. This is for the PlayStation 2, right? And it came out that saying Sony are going to have to cut launch quantities by 50% for North America, citing problems in production. Sony are going to have to stagger their shipments on a weekly basis, and they're going to have to use air freight. Sony are months behind in production, and it's only come to light now. And then it came out with Wall Street. Rumors hit Wall Street, driving the Sony share price down by I think it was like 9% or something. And Sony have a major competitor coming into play here with Microsoft, and they were obviously working on the Xbox One. It just sounds completely the same as it sure does.
It does, and to my sort of mind is, is this share price manipulation? But besides that, obviously that's just a throwaway comment, so please don't sue me or anything. But the thing is, what my biggest issue here, right, is with I don't know Jeff Grubb that well and all these other guys, but these days it's not necessarily CNN or Bloomberg, the media outlet, that are the problem, but the individuals that react and report often inaccurately or without probity. And that reflects on the individual and the integrity of the office that they're representing. This is just my opinion, right? So people have like kind of forgotten history, and that's not a good thing in this instance. Even if there is any truth to it, the only real fact that this constitutes is that Sony can't ship the unknown to all of us, right, quota that they had planned for this financial year ending in March 2021. But that doesn't really define the future for PlayStation or Xbox, right? It doesn't end there, right, on that date, right? At the end of the day, all anyone really remembers is how many units did the PlayStation 2 sell, right? And the rest is history, right?
Yeah.
But, anyway, I thought I'd just raise that point. It was just an interesting thing. I just thought I might mention it.
No, real quick. Let me just catch up on some of the super chats, and this is important. I'm gonna go backwards because this was important. Gotham Guy, good friend of the show, very generous friend of the show, just an outstanding $5 super chat. Says BestBuy.com has it to pre-order. I just saw it, although I'm still holding out for the Series X. Well, Zemi, bad news, folks. I just went to the site and it's down. It crashed.
Yeah, no. Yeah, I was literally gonna say that if you didn't say that. As soon as I saw that link, I was like, "Thank you so much, Gotham Guy. You are the man of the year." And then I went to the site and it wasn't working.
It's crashed. Yeah, it crashed.
Yeah.
They're reporting on it on social media that the sites are crashing left and right because people
everybody wants it, but nobody can get it. So
yeah, well,
boom.
Well, listen, I obviously, Tempest Sun, let me get you in here, but let me just catch up on some of the super chats. We have Nightwolf. Nightwolf 3186 drops another $5 super chat. Thank you for your generosity, my brother. He says, heard anything about the $70 price tag for PS5 exclusives? Just saw Zorka tweeted out 5 minutes ago. Yes, as a matter of fact, I've went to 3 sites, and every PlayStation 5 game is $69.99. So I don't know what the deal is. Again, folks, there's a lot of mismessaging going on because it's right now it's chaos. We have to wait for the dust to clear, but I think they might be $70 games. Ouch. This is why Game Pass is worth its weight in gold. We have VSimCO drops an outstanding $5 super chat. Says PS4 is holding PS5 games back. Yeah, we're actually going to cover that. I'm not sure if we're going to do that on Breakfast with Boom or we're going to cover that on tomorrow's Xbox Factor podcast because obviously it is worthy of a conversation, right? The PlayStation, from what we've been hearing for the last couple of months, the Series S is going to hold back the entire industry, hog tying it. The industry is ruined. Well, now it seems as if games are going to be coming to the PlayStation 4 that were originally, Terra Tactic wise said they're only going to be in the PlayStation 5. And we know that the PlayStation 4 is less powerful than the Series, than the Xbox One X, let alone the Series S. So it is going to be an interesting conversation. We also have a Solid Crusader 89 drops a very generous $10 super chat. And he says this, Mike Trog from Sony, Jim Ryan, Sony does it again. My wallet is screaming already. Can't pre-order a PlayStation 5 right now from Virginia since GameStop site is crashed with a tsunami of PlayStation fans. Dude, what the H? Yeah, dude, I feel bad, bro. I hope you get yours. First of all, thank you for the super chat. I really appreciate that. It's very kind of you. And I really hope that you were able to get it because you want it. And I want to see anyone that wants a PlayStation 5, whether it's disc or digital, to get it. And of course, Gotham Guy dropped his $5 super chat, and we have Pixelbit G, very generous friend of the show. He drops a $2 super chat and says, by next year, xCloud may be on PC and Samsung TV. Samsung TVs, that's confirmed. That's coming. Next year, you can guarantee that from what I'm hearing, every TV is going to have an Xbox Game Pass app as well, of course, as xCloud. And that means that you're going to be able to play your games from literally sitting in front of your TV without a console. And it's a scary proposition, but I don't think Microsoft is going out of the console business. So I wouldn't worry about too much about that. And we have John B drops a very generous $2. Give me one reason to buy a PlayStation 5 right now. Can't. And that's a good question. So Tempest-san, 2 days after the Series X and S launch, PlayStation is dropping their consoles. Very, very balls of steel, in my opinion. And of course, you're hearing everyone is freaking out about the pre-order stuff. I mean, again, is it their back end way of pulling a Nintendo? Because Nintendo's notorious for this, right? They tell you that they only have, so many, and they really have a lot, but they drive prices through the roof, and obviously prices through the roof, sends out a panic, and you're going to buy it if you see it. Could they be pulling that?
No, because I think they really don't have that many units. I mean, we've just been talking about this all week, I don't know. I mean, the fact that all these stores only had such limited quantity and the managers don't know if they're going to get another shipment, I mean, obviously they will eventually, but, I don't know how long that's going to take, right? So I seriously don't know if they are holding any back. I mean, why would they, if you got them, put them up for pre-order, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
They're going to sell regardless. So, I don't know. And as far as being ballsy, listen, I mean, you give them, the more time you give your competitor to sell their product to, other people. So I think it's a good thing for them that they're coming out so quickly. And let's be honest, I don't really see a scenario where almost any store, period, is going to have any leftover like consoles not for pre-order. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't really, and if they are, they're going to sell out immediately. So everybody that's going to want these consoles on both sides, Xbox and PlayStation, they're going to pre-order it. And hopefully if they get the pre-order in, that's the console they get. You know what I mean? So no, I don't, it doesn't surprise me one bit, to be honest with you. And I like I said, I think it's good for them. So.
Yeah, absolutely. So, let's get into the games, folks. We got about 30 minutes left, and I want to talk about the games. At the end of the day, right, we always talk about power of consoles and what they look like, and one looks like a speaker and one looks like a flying saucer. It doesn't really matter. It comes down to the games, and Sony showed off quite a few games that we want to talk about. Now, one of the big announcements, and I'm going to go to you first, Tempest, on this, because I gotta be honest with you, I was not impressed at all. I was actually, I was happy. I was happy because they made me not have to buy this crummy game. And I'm talking about Final Fantasy 16. My God, it did not look good. It was not a good showing. The cinematics, typical Square, they look fantastic, telling an amazing story, but the gameplay did not look good. Tempest, this was probably your biggest disappointment of the night in regards to the game, and I want to get your favorite game, and then we're gonna go round robin to the rest of the panel. First of all, what was your favorite game, and come back around to Final Fantasy, your biggest disappointment?
Okay, favorite game, just simply for what I'm interested in, Resident Evil 8, Resident Evil Village, pure and simple. It's what I'm most interested in. I think it had a little bit of a better showing this time around than last time.
I agree. Yep.
I still think it's kind of rough, but even though I'm so interested in it, I'm going to play it 1000%. It
does look like an Xbox One / PS4 kind of a game.
It really does. It still has that weird look to it where it definitely looks way more like 7 than 2 remake and 3 remake. That's undoubtedly.
But you know what? No, I think we're spoiled on how good 2 and 3 remake looked.
I guess, but this is that quote unquote next generation Resident Evil, man. So 7 was great, and my boy Chris Redfield's in there. I'm happy. So that's what I'm most looking forward to, without a doubt. And I do have to give props to Miles. It looked really good. So I give props where props are due. But I don't care that it's on PC, because that's where I would end up buying it, because currently my PC's stronger than PS5, so why would I not? It's coming out on PC, so I'm covered. I don't care where it's dropping. I thought Final Fantasy 16 looked terrible.
It did.
I don't know what that game is. It reminded me so much of Final Fantasy 15, which is my personal least favorite Final Fantasy. Like I told you in the pre-show, I beat it. It's a Final Fantasy. That's what I do. I play those games. And I thought the writing was terrible. A lot of the characters were terrible.
You beat it, which is crazy.
Yeah, I beat it. And the 14th chapter, and they had to release DLC, like an emergency DLC patch to try to fix chapter 14, and it was still horrendous. That game was an absolute mess in so many ways. And the gameplay that we've seen looks like it's more janky than 15, which I don't even see how that's actually possible. The animations looked awful. Graphically, Final Fantasy VII Remake looked superior to it, at least in the character department. It just did. It looked superior. Every area we saw looked the same. It looked drabbed. It looked dreary. I want my games, my Final Fantasy games, to take me places that just feeds my imagination and makes it go wild. I want to see different locales. Every place looked the same in this trailer, at least. We saw one guy. First of all, I hope I like this individual, because in Final Fantasy, you might not like the main character, cough, cough, squall. But, you have a supporting cast, right? You have a supporting cast, and that's
you find somebody to like on your crew.
Yeah, they showed no footage of you being with a party, so you're this one guy. And I'm sorry, right now, I'm going to call it. It looked like a terrible, cheap excuse for a Devil May Cry game, which is ironic because the very same event we saw the special edition of that game. Okay,
which I'm going to buy. Again, I'm a part of the problem, folks. I publicly admit it.
Virgil's in it, so I mean, how can you not get it? But seriously, it just looked like it's trying to do what Devil May Cry does so well, and I don't know what that was. For a second there, when it first opened, because the graphics were actually so poor, in my opinion, I thought it was good. Now, those graphics, which you saw right there, would be good for an MMO. Because MMOs are so big, they generally never have the same quality of graphics as a single player game. That's just the way those things work, right? So I saw it, especially because the guy resembled the kind of like protagonist they had put on all the marketing material for Final Fantasy XIV, the MMO. I thought he looked so similar that this was the next MMO. So for a second, I got hyped because I was like, these graphics don't look like a single player Final Fantasy game.
I honestly thought MMOs, they have a certain graphic type that you just used to.
Right, exactly. But when I realized that this was the Final Fantasy 16, oh my God, dude, I just don't know. And for Sony in particular, if this is the game they spent that like $750 million or whatever on to just try to keep it off of other consoles, fail, because it's coming out on PC anyways. Why would you spend, like, put that money elsewhere, dude? Give your PlayStation base more exclusive games or something. Buy another freaking studio with that kind of money. I'm being serious.
Yeah.
Why spend so much money to get that game? And it's silly to me that it looks so bad. I just, like I said, I don't care where it's launching because I'm already covered. It's coming out on PC. And I just really hope it shapes up because that was such a disappointment for me. It really was. Plus, it looks like it's on the Luminous engine again. I don't know why you wouldn't just go with Unreal. I mean, yes, Final Fantasy VII Remake had some issues. Some of the textures look like PS1 textures. I get it. It had issues, but that game still looked really good in a lot of places. And they remade that game very quickly because it was on a different engine, and then they turned it around rapid fire. So obviously, they can use the Unreal Engine. Why not just do that? I don't understand it. This game reminded me way too much of Final Fantasy 15, and it scared the crap out of me. So that was such a disappointment.
Yeah. All right. Well, listen, I want to go, keeping Resident Evil in the conversation. I want to go to Zemi next because Zemi, that was your game of the show. And we know you can't wait to play that, especially because it's going to have VR for the PlayStation. No, honestly, seriously, I want to hear what your thoughts were of this show, with the games. And obviously we know that the Harry Potter announcement is something that you have been talking about. You've done at least a half a dozen videos, potentially more. Mm-hmm. You've talked about it on the Xbox Factor podcast. Yeah. They got the marketing rights, obviously.
That's okay. I don't care who has the marketing rights.
And it's coming out in 2021. This was the game of the show for you. Tell us about it, bro.
Let me put it like this. If I could trade Cyberpunk 2077 for this Harry Potter game, I would.
Wow.
I'm being serious. I would trade this Harry Potter game possibly for Elder Scrolls 6.
Wow.
Like, I want this Harry Potter game so freaking bad. Whenever I saw one thing that they did really, really well, because like we like so many of us have been speculating when this game was going to be announced. And like, I never once thought it was going to be announced during the PlayStation showcase. And as soon as I saw the opening scene, like I knew immediately that was Harry Potter. Tears started flowing, goosebumps started popping up everywhere, and like I couldn't even breathe. Like I was so flipping excited, man. And like the game just looks absolutely incredible. Like the combat looks so good. Like how your character goes around casting magic looks incredible. We already know that there's character creation. However, we don't know how in depth the character creation is with the game. And I cannot wait for that as well. I mean, this is like a full blown RPG in the Harry Potter universe. Like this is the game I feel that all like Potterheads had been like dreaming for since they first read Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone, or they first watched the movie, right? Like it just looks incredible. Like going around learning spells, brewing potions. There are companions in this game, which is going to be flipping incredible. Like like you will have your own Ron and Hermione with you. Like obviously not actually Ron and Hermione. They're not born yet because the game takes place in like the late 1800s. But your own kind of version of them. You're gonna have your own friends, your own companions to help you do certain things. And I mean with like. I mean, they confirmed that like two of the places that you will be able to go for sure is the Forbidden Forest, which we kind of already knew from the leaked footage, and then also Hogsmeade, which we kind of already, I guess, knew as well. But in their press release, they also mentioned how we would go to familiar and new places, and the new places really, really excites me because it sounds like they're going to bring in places that we've never really visited. And like the familiar places obviously excites me because I want to go exploring in the Ministry of Magic or in Godric's Hollow. Like that would be absolutely incredible. Like, oh my God, I'm so excited. And then also in the press release that I read from Warner Brothers, they also mentioned how the game has like missions and scenarios with like difficult choices. So you're going to have like choices that you can choose. Hopefully in like a dialogue system. Yes, consequences to your actions, which just makes me want to play the game even more. Like I'm going to play at least probably 3-4 playthroughs. I don't know if I'll play as a Hufflepuff because nobody likes those guys anyway. But I'm definitely going to play as a Slytherin. If you can choose, your house, definitely going to play as a Slytherin, a Ravenclaw, and a Gryffindor. And oh my God, I just cannot wait for this game. Like it's literally every single thing that I want in an RPG right now. Plus it's Harry Potter. Like it checks all the boxes for me. It checks all the boxes for me. However, I will say this. I am actually going to disagree with Crispy Bomb and Tempest Sun about Final Fantasy.
Really?
And let me say this. I am not a huge Final Fantasy fan. The last Final Fantasy I played was 10 and I stopped playing it. I was like 8 years old, but I stopped playing it because I couldn't beat the big spider on the mountain. I sounded like I was 10 whenever I said that, right? But Final Fantasy almost never appeals to me. Like I hardly ever look at a Final Fantasy game and like, man, I really want to play that. I looked at this Final Fantasy like, man, I really want to play that. I'm super excited. I'm going to get a PlayStation hopefully so I can play that as soon as it comes out. Like I was really, really excited for that.
You ain't talking to me, you're talking to Tempest. So go ahead.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, no. I mean, what appeals to me and what appeals to Tempest are two different things. It really, really caught my eye. I really kind of want to play that game.
Yeah, well, I mean, obviously you've been looking forward to that for quite some time, and obviously it's coming out next year. Now they didn't specify when next year. It could be holiday, but we know that it's coming out next year. That is a big deal for you, and I think it's a big deal for the Harry Potter community for sure. Crispy Bomb, what was your game of the show, and do you have a disappointment? Do you have something I'm like, I didn't really care for it?
I mean, Miles Morales. Holy crap!
Yeah,
that looked. It didn't look next gen, but it definitely looked like they cleaned up a lot of things. I will say that. And the cinematics in between the gameplay were pretty cool.
Yeah.
The only thing I have a problem with is that I want to play the game, and I feel like there's a lot of cutscenes, a lot of timed, just timing involved, and it can be easy after the first try you die. You know what I mean? So it was cool. It made me want to buy a PlayStation 5 until I found out that I could buy a PlayStation 4 and get the same game.
Yeah.
So what are you showing me? Look, at the end of the day, we can all sit here and take a seat on the couch and say, why am I buying next gen? Is it because of the visuals? Because I'll tell you right now, you play Gears 5 on the Xbox One X, that shit looks incredible. Especially if you have the TV for it. Looks incredible. Next gen. And I'll even go further. I've watched people on my TV play God of War and everything else. It looks incredible. So why are we buying a PlayStation 5 if you're going to release the games on PlayStation 4? I just don't get it. And you know what? Harry Potter, great, but it's third party, and it's coming to Xbox too.
Yeah, it's not. There's no exclusive rights or anything. They just have the marketing. That's all.
And that's, you know what? Good on WB for not releasing anything until now, because they already had the money in their pocket. So they're like, well, we gotta shut up. We're not doing anything with Harry Potter until PlayStation says so. So I don't get it. I don't get how they push this. Like, I saw a lot of third party. I saw a lot of old games, people. Old games. They were old. Okay? Demon Souls remaster. Miles Morales, you can sit here and tell me, but it's a goddamn DLC, especially if it's on PS4. And I hate that people say you can't play old games. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is keep that same energy. Get your head out of your ass and understand that this game is going to look better on this console. They are not holding anybody back because they're releasing it on a console before that. And that's the point. Like, stop it. Like, just realize that Xbox is once again a little bit farther ahead and says, fuck it. We're going to take the L. You know what I mean? That's what they're doing. They're going to take the L. They're going to be absolutely positively as fluid as possible in their messaging. And that's what they're doing. And I appreciate that as a gamer. I'm sorry. A lot of people don't want to hear that, but that's the way it is.
Yeah. No, I mean, listen, listen, there's a lot of truth to what you're saying. And there is a double standard. So actually, matter of fact, let me just catch up on a few of the super chats. Someone actually mentioned that. Sean Murray, a good friend and generous friend of the show, drops an outstanding $5 super chat and says, don't buy Devil May Cry 5. You buy the Virgil as DLC, which I did. I have it for the Xbox One. On the normal DMC, they are not using smart delivery and aren't going to charge you twice. Yeah, the reason why I'm probably going to buy it for the PlayStation 5 is because I don't have it on the PlayStation 5. I have the game. I love it and wouldn't mind just having something else to play. Again, I'm part of the problem. I admittedly, definitely a part of the problem.
Yeah, you are.
Yeah, no doubt about it. A good friend of the show, Flamish, dropped an outstanding $5 super chat and says, I'm going to hold off on the PlayStation 5 for now because I can play all of the games on the PlayStation 4 or PC. Why buy a PS5 at all anymore? And yes, Harry Potter. Oh my God, Zemi. Hope we can co-op. Oh, I wonder if there's going to be co-op. That's interesting.
The press release said that it was a single player game. Like the press release from Warner Brothers mentioned nothing about multiplayer. So I'm guessing it is solely a single player game.
Narrative again,
which I think is great because I never play RPGs co-op anyway.
Right. Oh, no, that's
Works for me. However, I think it would be really, really cool if they did make a Harry Potter game eventually that was like multiplayer, like you're dueling with like you're doing like wizard duels against like opponents and stuff, and have that be online. I think that would be really cool. I wouldn't be opposed to that.
All I say is, why don't you give the option? Just give
maybe
I mean, if you have multiplayer and single player in a role playing game, that takes resources away from the single player experience, right? Like they're focusing on servers and having what I mean. It changes like the whole dynamic of the game.
Yeah, but you back end the assets. That's what you do.
I mean, again, maybe it's something that they're just not ready to talk about. Maybe it's something they could bring in on the back end. Like they're doing with The Last of Us. The single player came out, and they're going to bring factions at another point. Maybe they'll bring different.
Come on, Boom! It's a cash grab. Come on. Yeah, come on, man.
Potentially, it could be for sure. Reggie Mobile 9 drops an outstanding $9 super chat and says, "Great show, Boom and crew. The sad thing that was exposed today is how much of a double standard there is with games media and Xbox. Salute to y'all. Yeah, well, salute to you and thank you for being here. And yes, there is definitely a bit of a double standard. Sean D, let's bring you into the conversation, brother. What are your thoughts on what we are talking about?
So first, I'm gonna get the let's get the bad out the way. Zimmy, I think you were thinking about me and Tempest. We were talking about Final Fantasy 16. And Tempest pretty much covered everything. The only thing I'm going to say is the reason why guys like me and Tempest are upset is because Final Fantasy is not just like a throw off. It has like a pedigree and there's a certain like formula that always comes with them. And essentially what we saw, like Tempest hit it immediately. No Final Fantasy have I ever played been partyless. Not even the MMOs are partyless. Like right. Final Fantasy 11, you couldn't play that game without a party. And 14, though a lot of the content could be done single player, anything that's like a event is done in a party. To me, I probably wouldn't have had an issue with that game at all if they would have dropped the Final Fantasy name and put my chocobos in the stable. Okay, I probably wouldn't have had a problem with it. Also, I don't like the fact that when you make games like that are like that different from the normal formula, and maybe we just haven't seen it all. Maybe there is a party. It's just weird they didn't show it at all. You make that like a side Final Fantasy. You make that like a side project. Like they made like Final Fantasy Chocobo Runner or Final Fantasy Moogles something. Like they've done games like that, and I don't care like that doesn't fit the normal scope of Final Fantasy. It's just in the Final Fantasy realm, and that's what this game could have been. It could have been in the Final Fantasy realm. It shouldn't have been a numbered Final Fantasy 16. That's my biggest issue with that. It just doesn't fit the pedigree of the mainstay titles. The other gripe I have is only a small one. The God of War teaser. It's nothing against God of War. God of War is awesome. We all know.
I'm sorry to cut you off. Anyone that wants a PlayStation 5, you can go to Best Buy. They're up.
Oh.
Yeah, the both versions, $399, $499. I'm looking at the screen right now.
I was literally just there, and whenever I try to click checkout, like it just loads up for a second, but then it doesn't go through. Yeah. Whenever I try to click checkout or PayPal checkout, it does not work for me, at least.
Okay, well, I'm trying to go to cart. I have it in the cart. It's there. It just won't let me go to the cart.
They're playing games, dude. Like, it's games, dude. It's all games, dude.
It's there. It's
you got in the cart. Oh, yep, there it is.
Is it in your cart?
Having the retailers play games. Like, fuck.
Yeah, I'm just again, folks. If you're able to get over there, get over to Best Buy right now. They're in there. I have one in my cart. I'm taking it out of my cart because obviously I don't need it. But yeah,
I feel like we're getting a Saturn launch, bro. Come on, man. Like,
I don't know. But Shandi, continue with your point, brother.
So with God of War, it's nothing wrong with the actual teaser. What didn't work was that type of teaser does not work in digital form, because all it was like a quick like show of like ice, and then them saying Ragnarok is coming. That totally kills in an audience setting, because what ends up happening is the audience goes nuts.
Yeah, reaction is crazy. I'm sure we'll see reactions on YouTube tomorrow, because I'm not going to sit here and lie to you and say that I wasn't excited. I loved God of War. As a matter of fact, it's probably one of my favorite games this generation from Sony. Not the top one. This top one still is Horizon Zero Dawn for me personally.
But I think it would have done a lot better if they would have just shown like a quick, not like a long cinematic. It could have just been the axe, like you hear the axe, and then whoosh, into his hand, and then Ragnarok is coming. Like that would have like made me excited. I'm like, oh, okay, like I'm ready to go. But them just showing the Ragnarok, we all know it's coming. Of course, it's coming. It's planned to be a trilogy. As far as what I liked, so I share this with Zemi. The game that actually, outside of Miles Morales, which I already knew was going to be dope, so it didn't like it didn't take the #1 spot. Harry Potter got me really excited. And I'm a fraud because I didn't read the books, but on ABC Family, whenever they would run their
marathon,
I was there watching, right? So as soon as my wife came home, as I'm rewatching it, I said, "Hey, babe, come here. You know, I want to show you this game," because I'm always trying to get her to get into video games. I showed her the Harry Potter, and I said, I said, "Do you think this looks cool?" She was like, "Yeah, I think this looks cool." I was like, I've always wanted to be a wizard. I've always wanted to be a Harry Potter wizard, and I've always waited for that game where it feels like they do it right.
This is the one.
Yes, when I found out this is
the way.
I said, yes, this is the one. You're right.
Shoot the way.
I'm so excited for this. I'm definitely buying this day one. This game is going to be so much fun, and I think it works a lot better being in a single player format. Could they add in, like you said, like duels, like you go to an area and you can do duels against people online? That'd be cool. But the game itself should focus like on you, your character, your decisions you make, everything like that. I think this is going to be a great version of Harry Potter.
I like that they're not using any of the main characters, that you're literally going to create your own character, and you're going to be learning and meeting new, fresh. I mean, there's going to be some classic characters there, but for the actual wizards themselves, it's going to be all new people, which I'm excited about, because it's going to tell a new generation of story, which I love. I never read the books. I'm a fraud too. I've watched the movies a dozen times each one. I love them, love the films, but just never read the books. I know I'm a fraud. So you know what, VJ, let's get you in on the final point, brother. What was your game of the show, and what was your biggest disappointment of the evening for the 40-minute event?
I'm going to complete the trifecta here. If you don't already know, I'm a massive Final Fantasy fan, and I put in like 200 hours into Final Fantasy X when I thought I'd never ever play it again, just before the Final Fantasy remake, which I also loved. But I'm looking at the way that they'd set it up, like with Final Fantasy 16 and Resident Evil 8. Obviously, the main purpose for showing that off, and I think they were put in a position, was to cater for, they always do it, right? Cater for the stockholders and the Japanese stock market, right? But when I saw Final Fantasy 16, and I thought, okay, which team, what's going on here? And it came up Creative Business Unit 2. I just had to come out and say, what the? And you know I don't use profanity on your channel.
I appreciate it.
That scared the hell out of me. I'm not saying the setting is bad, but I'll tell you what it looked like to me. It felt like to me that a team had been put on it. They'd created a concept demo, like most studios do, and it was about to be submitted for approval, whether they're allowed to go into full production or not. It was so, I don't know, so poorly designed. The character models, the lip syncing was out of sync, and it was just totally uninteresting for me. When I look at whether it's Final Fantasy VII, when that amazing CG trailer for Final Fantasy VIII came out, 9, 10, 12, and even 13, it just didn't jive with me. There was no sensation or elation or vibration, right, from this game. And I was sitting there thinking to myself, Final Fantasy 15, all is forgiven, right? Anyway, that's my disappointment out of the way. Spider-Man, I think we've all talked about. And some of those vignettes in between the gameplay were just so fluid and quick. I was just like, wow, I can't wait to play this, right? Harry Potter completely surprised me. It may actually be really, really good, You know, I was just so surprised. Demon Souls, Blue Point Games, I think they were pretty much on point, right, with the remake. There's a few bits and pieces I was like, okay, maybe that could have been done a bit better. I don't know, right? I don't know how much budget or time that they've had. I'll come out and say it. I was anticipating the God of War reveal just as much as I was anticipating and hoping for that Fable reveal, right? That was the kind of level, right, that they're both on for me at the end of the Xbox showcase. Now, I'll come out and say it, but the only reason why I thought maybe they didn't want to show it, because it was probably going to eclipse whatever current gen or with next gen upgrades has to offer. I don't know, but look, I'm just putting it out there because I think it'll be that great. Whether it hits 2021 or not, I'm not that bothered, as long as they get it right. For me, it's one of the franchises that I also love, right? So I think overall the show was carefully curated, but Sony, and I get this exact same feeling from Phil and his team, they're definitely holding stuff back, right? Because they know that they have to announce the consoles, they know they have to announce the pre-order, they know they have to ship it, but it's the content, and I think that's where another sort of what do you call it, chicken and egg or situation is, who's going to come out first. And for PS5 fans, yeah, okay, Horizon Zero Dawn 2, and I have to admit, I didn't finish it. It was a good game, and I enjoyed it, and I thought it was some really interesting things, but it wasn't for me. But both that and if God of War do hit in the next 12 to 18 months, it will be amazing. But for me right now, the best looking game, the game that I think that is really pushing me to pick up for next gen, has got to be Cyberpunk. It just, for everything that I've seen out there, that game just looks totally outstanding, and I hope it is. I really do.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, again, everyone had great points, folks. We are past the 2-hour mark. This has been a great show. We didn't get a chance to break down the PlayStation Plus collection and what that means. We're probably going to get to that and a few other topics that we didn't get to, because obviously it's a big panel. There's a lot to cover. There was really a ton of stuff to get to, and we will probably be revisiting some of those topics I wrote for Friday morning's Breakfast with Boom. So, of course, Crispy Bomb will be a part of that. But I want to thank everybody that came out. First of all, we had record numbers. We closed in. The last number count that I have is 783 people turned out for tonight's special edition episode of Double Barrel Gaming. That is a record for this particular program. I cannot thank you guys and gals enough. I'm hoping that you enjoyed the show. Again, it was a little not what I find to be, in my opinion, one of my better shows, because I'm usually very structured. And this one was a little bit, for me, a little all over the place. But again, it was just because there was so much to, when you try to cover a show that you write literally from the seat of your pants, which is how I wrote this show. You don't have any time to really put thought into it. I hope you enjoyed it. I know I had a lot of fun. I think everyone here had a lot of fun. And stay tuned to Double Barrel Gaming, because we got you covered with more content tomorrow, Friday, and of course Monday's primetime gaming. I know that someone put something in the chat. There's going to be at 6:30 Pacific time a Game Pass showcase tomorrow. King David actually also posted something interesting, Tempest. I don't know what he posted, but what was that he posted, Tempest?
I don't know. He's playing around on Twitter. He said tune in. I don't know. I'm just giving you the information.
Oh, okay. All right. So I'm gonna have to give King David a call and get the 411 on what that is.
Yeah.
We're here again. We're hearing that tomorrow might show off Hellblade, which would be kind of crazy if you think about it. It would be a very aggressive marketing tactic for Microsoft, and hopefully they do that before the Xbox Factor podcast goes live. But listen, let's first of all, I want to say thank you to the near 800 people that came out today. I want to thank everybody for their very, very exquisite and generous super chats that continue to come in. And I again, the generosity is just, it blows me away each and every time. So I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart. Let's get to the panel and get them out of here. And we'll start with Crispy Bomb. Crispy, you are not only on Breakfast with Boom, you're also on the next podcast, but you're also doing a whole bunch of other things. Where could people reach out to you on social media and check out some of your other shows that you're working on?
Oh, shout out to the panel. Shout out to the entire chat. I mean, it was incredible tonight. I appreciate the shout outs to me. I really do. At the end of the day, I speak my truth. And it's at Crispy Bomb on Twitter, Crispy Bomb 28 Xbox Live. And you can find me on the next podcast tomorrow night, 7 p.m. You can find me on Breakfast with Boom Friday morning, 10 a.m. And you can find me on Retro Renegades, 7 p.m. Tuesday nights. And just hit me up, and I will talk games with you. I will give you opinions. You don't have to listen to it.
You don't, but real quick, I'm going to set everybody on fire because I'm reading a tweet from Brian Altano, who of course I don't care much for, of IGN fame or not. He writes this on Twitter: PlayStation 5 Digital Edition coming in $100 under the Series X means that they pretty much win this upcoming generation. Honestly,
What a boob!
Wow. Okay.
Wait,
All right.
well, you don't know about the casuals. That's what I said.
Yeah, it's but there's no bias in the media, folks. I just wanted to throw that out there. So if you want to head over to IGN and just give them the finger like I normally do, go right ahead. But whatever. Tempest Sun, do me a favor, brother. Where could somebody potentially get shot in the face by you by playing multiplayer because you're so damn good, or potentially hear your opinions on MMOs on social media?
Twitter, I'm at the Tempest Sun. My gamer tag is Tempest Sun. You can find me here Monday nights on your show, Boom. I will be guest starring on I don't know if I'm allowed to say it or not. I guess I can. Guest starring on a show this coming Wednesday. I think we all know who it is, I guess, but yeah, I'll be there. So I'm excited for that. And no, good times. Today was crazy. That's all I gotta say.
Yeah, today was crazy, but it was a great show. A lot of banter, a lot of talk. Thanks so much for being here. Sean D, we're going to get you up here, brother. You actually have a fantastic YouTube channel. Why don't you tell everyone where they can sub your outstanding work, but also reach out to you on social media?
All right, as far as social media, you guys can reach me at Sean D at Gam Entertain on Twitter. As far as the channel, I do a Xbox-centric channel. Right now, I'm trying to get up to 100 subscribers so I can do my official first giveaway as
nice
100 subscriber milestone. So if you're interested, please come by. This show was great. I love coming up here to talk with you guys, and I love the chat. It's like you get two shows for one, man. I love it.
Well, it's great having you a part of the show. You've actually been a part of many of these special edition shows, regardless whether that be a PlayStation show, an Xbox show, when we haven't done a Nintendo show, but you've always been a part of it, and it's always great to have you on. We got to get you on certainly more often, so thank you for that. We'll go to VJ. VJ, you've been making the rounds, my friend. Not only are you on Breakfast with Boom Breakfast and Boom on the Xbox Factor podcast each and every Thursday, but you are also a part of Green Point Gaming on a weekly basis, and there are an Xbox. They're relatively new, but I gotta tell you, those guys run a tight ship. I believe they've only been on doing live shows for about 8 weeks. Why don't you tell everyone about where they can follow you on social media there, VJ, but also tell them about that particular podcast you recently joined.
Thanks, Boom. Yeah, I just wanted to say thanks to you and everybody on the panel and everybody in the chat. Yeah, I'm with Green Pass Gaming on Sundays. Yeah, you're absolutely right. They've been going for about 8 weeks, and I've also joined Four Guys with Quarters.
Nice clowns, excellent, good people.
I hope I can do a good job for him as well. And Boom, yeah, like I normally like to prepare well for your shows, right, to give my best. So I'm sorry if I was a little bit all over.
Nah, you did great as always, brother. You shoot from the hip, and today you did very well. Again, not a lot of prep time, simply because it just the day was the day. Trying to get pre-orders, trying to get this show notes done. That's why it's one of the things I hate about Sony's shows being so late. It doesn't give me a lot of time to prepare, but you got to react, and I think that we all did an amazing job, of course, including yourself. And last, and in no way least, of course, is Zemi Games, someone that is going to be with us tomorrow with me and VJ on the newest episode of the Xbox Factor podcast. We have a ton of great topics, and we're going to be talking about how the Series S is no longer the red-headed stepchild holding back the industry, like some people claim. Zemi, tell everyone where they can check out your incredible Harry Potter videos that you've done, but also check out some of your Master Chef works, as well as reach out to you on social media.
Yeah, absolutely. So, guys, I have 2 YouTube channels. The first one's called Zimmy Games, where I post a bunch of gaming related videos. My most recent video is that Harry Potter video where I show off the trailer that was shown at today's PlayStation event. But then I also read off a lot of information that wasn't given in that trailer, just directly from a press release I received from Warner Brothers. So that's a really good video. And of course, I do all sorts of other gaming news and tutorial videos and stuff like that over on Zimmy Games. Then I also have a newer channel called Zimmy Eats, where I am just, I don't know what's wrong with it. I really need to upload this new video. I have all the footage. I just need to string it together and just finally plop it out. But I've just been super, super busy with everything else. But on Zimmy Eats, it's a channel just about food reviews, cooking tutorial videos, stuff like that. You guys can also go and check me out on Twitter at Zimmy Games. My DMs are always open. So if you heard me say something on today's show that you agreed with, maybe you disagreed with it, always feel free to send me a DM and let me know. I always love having those conversations with people there, out there in the community. And then, of course, I also post, whenever I go live on my Twitch channel or I upload a new video, or if I see, some interesting piece of news, I always post that on my Twitter as well. So give me a follow over there if you don't care. And then my newest endeavor is actually streaming on Twitch. On Twitch, my name on there is Zimmy Games as well. And I just stream a variety of different games. I usually stream Wednesday through Sunday, starting at 4 p.m. and ending around 6 p.m. So yeah, you can, hop in and, view the streams. And VJ, he got on me the last time. VJ is my #1 fan over there. He told me if I didn't tell you guys that he would do mean things to me.
That's not nice. That doesn't sound like VJ.
He didn't actually say those things. I'm sorry.
I know he didn't.
But yeah, Boom, thank you so much. And I will be on tomorrow's show at 12.
Yep. Well, listen, everyone, thank you so much for coming out. Really appreciate you hanging around. Hopefully you enjoyed today's show. If you did, before you get out of here, please hit the like button. If you're new to the channel, welcome. Hopefully that you enjoyed the banter enough to subscribe to the channel. And of course, if you want to become a channel member and have a shot at winning that digital PlayStation 5 or the Series X that my brother and my wife, Mrs. Boomstick, and I are going to be giving away, along with 10 PlayStation 5/Xbox Series S and X games and 2 controllers. The prize amount, $1,500. And all you have to do is be a channel member and or a Patreon supporter, or just drop a super chat in. I'm recording all super chats, and all super chats are going to be registered to win one of 10 games or those 2 controllers. So we're doing a lot of big giveaways. And if you can support Double Barrel Gaming, you might just win one of these consoles or a game of your choice. So check that out. And of course, you can find all of that information in a video that I dropped late last night. It's the second time I dropped. It was kind of like a just community reminder. If you want to know the rules and regulations for the contest. And of course, thanks so much for coming out today. It has been a great day. I'm exhausted. I am literally exhausted from being excited, from being able to get my hands on a PlayStation 5. And hopefully, if you want one, you find the same luck. So everyone, take care. And I want to close out the show with something that is important to me. Hopefully, it will be important to you. And it's something that my dad taught me when I was a kid. It made me a better human being. And hopefully, you'll learn something from it. And he used to say, son, treat others how you want to be treated. And also, it doesn't cost anything to be nice. You live by those rules, and I can guarantee you're going to have an awesome day. Take care, everyone, and we'll see you tomorrow on the newest episode of the Xbox Factor Podcast.